Remember that part of the Phantom of the Opera, aka the only good part of that entire thing is the. I was driving. I was in a car being driven to school when I was a young child. I think I remember the last name of the family, but I'm not going to say it. It was a French name, a regal French name. But the mom, she had glasses, but she was listening to the Phantom of the Opera soundtrack. I was like, this is so bad. Like, this is terrible. It's terrible. I hate it, except for the part that went. I heard that. I was like, oh, what is this? This is good. She goes, it's the Phantom of the Opera soundtrack. I thought you didn't like this. I'm like, well, I like it now, just for the. I'm in a stairwell someplace in Middle America. Does this hat look? I'm taking this hat off. This looks like it's just not that cold. Okay, I got it off. You know what I don't understand is when you see people wearing a hat backwards in a car. How do they do that? Because it's the bill doesn't it hit the headrest? Unless you have your hat like really down, in which case you look kind of like like you don't know how to screw a nut on. Yep. Welcome to this. This is the thing with which you are a part of now. This is the beginning, the introduction. Don't worry, it's not very long. So you're okay. I'm okay. We're all okay here. Actually, some people are not, legitimately not. I'm currently recording this after the primary amount of firestorm has died down. A lot of people got pretty hard fucked. Like, seriously, I cannot believe the winds that I experienced. I mean, truly, I've been in places that had some pretty heavy winds from thunderstorms, maybe like they call these things straight line winds. I've experienced those, which are like tornado adjacent, or they come from these supercells, and they're pretty strong. They can be like up to 100 miles an hour. I think I experienced some gusts, maybe 60 miles an hour. I'm talking like I was laughing only because like I felt safe. Maybe it was wrong to feel safe. I was in my backyard, but just to see the little dog get blown around, she's trying to shit and piss, and she doesn't know what's going on. She's a puppy. She's so confused by this. She's not even scared. It's just so overwhelming. She's not even scared. But man, we got lucky. We got lucky compared to a lot of people. Just so devastating. Like it's just the winds. Some of the winds in some places were almost 100 miles an hour while something's on fire and it couldn't be drier. Oof. No good. Very bad. Very, very bad. Hearts go out to everybody affected. Obviously, it's terrible. But we persist. We must persist. We do persist. That's sort of like what we do as humans, right? That's our whole thing. It's just persisting. Like no matter what, we're gonna be fucking scraping it. We're gonna be scraping it good. This is Live to Tape. I'm Johnny Pemberton. This is also known as the Executive Buffet. But I think better known. Eventually, it's going to be permanently known as the Executive Buffet because that's, who else has that? No one else has that. Unless someone, I did think of a name for a podcast once and looked it up, and someone did have it. They were misusing it, but still, if you got a good name, that's all that matters. Everything else is just like, what is it? I mean, but the name. Sometimes people have a great name, and you can have a bad name and do good. You can also have a good name and do bad. I'm working on both. Let's hit both. Let's fill up the Punnett Square. No one knows what that meant. No one knows what a Punnett Square is. Nobody knows what a Punnett Square is at all. You think it's Mendelevian genetics? Our boy Gregor Mendel? I used to love Gregor Mendel. I love Mendelevian genetics because it's all about peas, man. You got to cross these peas and stuff. Nobody wants to talk about hybrid vigor when it comes to humans, but it's real. I think it is. I mean, I just talked about it. It's a compliment. You see it all the time. If you start looking out for hybrid vigor. Hybrid vigor is when you have two strains of something and you cross them, and because they're hybridized, it grows more vigorously, and it takes on the best of both. Sometimes you have the opposite, like killer bees. They produce less honey and they're more aggressive. But the guy who was making killer bees was trying to make a more docile bee, like the American honeybee, and the South American bee, which made more honey but was more aggressive. Instead, killer bees are make less honey and are somehow even more aggressive than their predecessors. So, I guess when nature gets forced to do something, maybe it's like, fuck you. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do the natural hybrid vigor, but we'll never know. Everything has been affected. There's no natural anymore, I would say. I'm a naturalist, though. I like nature a lot. So does my guest today. Great episode of the podcast. A comedian I've known for a very long time. Never failed to dazzle me with his intelligence and his performative abilities. Hilarious guy. Great accent, too. Here he is today. Is Billy Wayne Davis, also known as Bill Jerome Davis. Building with Davis. All right.
Start.
Daddy did a slate. Daddy did a good slate. We're good. We're going. We're good. BWD.
What is this? Is this your?
I don't know.
Is this live to tape?
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're trying to hunt me down and you're working for the government, you would say that, yeah. But technically, I call it a lot of different names. I've been wanting to transition it to the name Executive Buffet.
I like that.
Yeah, I love that. It comes from the dumbest thing ever. It comes from that movie Flight, with Denzel Washington.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's great. It's a great movie. It's not like a great movie, but it's like really like it's a good movie.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like it's like a. I do know what you're saying.
Like you know what I mean? It's not like special, but it's just.
It has all the right parts.
It's all the right parts. Got expensive music, expensive actors.
It's like Wendy's.
That's a good comparison.
You know
I don't know if Denzel Washington would like to be compared to Wendy's.
But I think he.
Yeah, Wendy's that's actually a great comparison because Wendy's is definitely people forget about it a lot. But if you ever find yourself at Wendy's, you wouldn't be like, "This sucks."
Exactly, but you're
Unless
like,
it was
But you're like, that was okay.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
A couple unique items. No one else has chili.
That is. It's not the same as it used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right. Yeah, the movie Flight. I think Tom Skerritt or Tom.
I think we're talking not about Denzel, but like a type of movie.
Type of movie.
Yeah.
It's like the movie that got packaged because it's got John Goodman in it. It's got a Rolling Stones song in it.
That's the thing that's not discussed is like how many. You're an actor, a successful one. If we might, you're a successful actor.
I mean, what is success?
Someone that is on more than several TV shows consistently, which I think is like.
I guess you could say that then.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't even know if I mean it as a compliment. You know what I mean?
I don't need to feel it.
It's
maybe that's success is not needing both ways, not needing it.
Well, I think that is success.
Yeah.
I do think where you're like, I'm cool. Mm-hmm. I'm doing good. But I think like there's like those type dudes like John Goodman and Denzel, like when you get like one of those names, they do a lot of movies no one's ever heard of.
They do.
Because it takes like 3 weeks of their time, and then they give them a lot of money.
Yep.
And then yeah, and then you're on a flight and you're like, what is this? And
Right.
you're like, that was fine. And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I worked at Wendy's for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I
And
had
they paid
tons
me,
of.
and they paid me $5 million.
I had
And you're
tons
like,
and
"Oh, I would
tons of
work at Wendy's.
Frosties.
I would work at Wendy's for $5 million for 3 weeks.
If you had tons of, if you got paid, that probably mattered. Just in general.
No, I think that's what they the way they look at it. Like,
Oh yeah, it's like a temporary job. You step into it, and it's plug and play. You just do you.
because there's like a million Liam Neeson movies that where he's like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm coming after you.
Yeah,
After that one,
I've seen them all. There's actually one pretty good one called "A Walk Among the Tombstones" that I think is pretty good. The Taken movies are good in a sense where
they're good.
it's like a really good sandwich.
The first one's awesome.
First one's because it defined the genre.
Well, it's also like they're like the John Wick movies,
Mm-hmm.
where you watch those and you're like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
This is what this should be.
the
Where it's
fact
like they're shooting each other, but it's ridiculous.
and the fact that they have these sort of vaguely Eastern European enemies that are kind of they're just so nefarious that they're not even real. They're like from like Kazakhstan.
They're all ethnically ambiguous.
Yeah.
But it is like Eastern Europe, but no idea where.
Stubble, smoking indoors, bad sweaters,
They all look
Mercedes.
They all look like dudes that if you got in their Uber, you're like, we're gonna get there on time.
Yeah. Yeah. This guy knows how to downshift.
Yeah. Like this dude doesn't. I mean, traffic laws are not like an important. My comfort is of no concern to
Right.
this man.
Not at all. That's fine.
Which I actually, as a traveler, I'm like, let's just go.
Yeah, when it's like too much preference on you, then a lot of times I'll ask a guy like if I get like a nice car, if I'm ever has a car being sent for me,
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, put on whatever music you want to listen to. They're like, oh, so what do you want to hear? I'm like, no, whatever you want to do.
They don't like that.
Because you're driving. I don't care. I'm gonna have my headphones in. So listen to conservative talk radio is fine for
So
me.
you listen in someone else's car, you listen to the headphones?
Halftime. It depends who the driver. It depends on the mood.
Yeah.
Depends on if I'm like. Sometimes I maybe will feel exhausted to the point of sickness, and I just want to close my eyes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do want to talk with the guy. Sometimes I'll do half and half. Sometimes I just want to listen to, like if it was me, I want to just listen to classical music, kind of light.
Yep.
But a lot of times I'm thinking like this person is not want to listen to that.
No, and we need them. I like your style because I want them to be more comfortable than me.
Yeah, because they're
behind the wheel.
driving.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
driving. Sometimes I will have them put on. I've gone all over the place. I've done the thing where I put on, like way back in the day. This is so long. Probably NPR, but now I would never do that.
No, it sucks.
Yeah, it's not. Good.
I like classical, and then
classical can be good.
a man the other day had jazz on, which was
Jazz is good, too.
It was because the travel was kind of stressful, and it was towards the end of the travel.
And if
then
a
I
guy
got
likes the jazz,
and he was already listening to it. I was like, oh, this is great. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, cool, great. And it was lovely.
but sometimes I can't deal with the like. It's just too much conversation. It makes me exhausted because I'm trying to be. I don't know. I'd rather.
No, I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Most of the time. No. Do you notice that, like, I'll get an Uber or Lyft driver sometimes that does this
Rocks.
with the car with the accelerator. They
Yep.
go on and off.
Yeah.
That's how they drive. Is like,
Oof.
and I won't notice it first, and then I'll be like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh, that's what's happening. But
That shit is the
if-
worst.
If it's a cab driver or like one of those cars that's sent to you or
Yeah.
something, they never do that.
No.
That is never an issue. But it is
No.
a Uber or Lyft issue where it's like, and you're like, no, this is.
I'm feeling sick thinking about it. It's the worst thing. But why do they do that?
Because they don't. I don't think they understand acceleration, and then all you have to do is take off the accelerator a little bit and coast. You don't have to stop. But it is.
Gotta smack 'em.
I don't. I always think like I'm gonna give them like a 4, but I always give them 5.
I always give. I gave it 4 one
I feel like
time.
they need the 5 better more than anyone else because.
Oh, I'll never give a 4 for that. I gave a 4 recently, and I should have given a 2, but I didn't.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
That's what that
Ooh.
means. If a 4 means you probably shouldn't be driving.
Yeah. Like I got scared more than twice. More than twice I was like, "Oh my fuck. Oh god. Oh
Yes.
god."
Yeah, where you're like, you shouldn't be doing this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the best is when you're scared and they're not. You're like, "What the fuck is going? How come you're not scared just now? You almost hit this person."
I was in New Orleans this past weekend. From the airport, we got a Cajun driver, and I made the joke on stage. I was like, I asked for a Cajun driver in the app because
Yeah.
it was he wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
Yeah.
He was listening to like a wonderful classic rock station.
Nice.
Like had a
Well, how'd you know he was Cajun?
because he started talking, man.
Oh, okay. Well, you never know.
And then he had no concern for any traffic laws or the lines on the road. But and it was all the smoothest ride I've ever had. And he's kind of talking to both me and my son the whole time. And my 15-year-old's not.
Tell you what, no, you want to never go to over there. No, that's not a good place for the boy like that. Huh?
We got out of the car, and my son said, one of the first things he said as we're walking to the hotel, he's like, "Huh, is Forrest Gump from here?" I was like, "Close. He is from like the region, but why do you ask that?" And he's like, "Because everyone sounds like him." I was like, "No, don't say that out loud much. It's not. It's not a compliment.
You can't hurt the Cajuns.
But it's not. They're not. Some of them you can.
I don't think you can. I think that you could try, and they'll just be like, "Ha ha ha."
They are like the Irish, like that, where
Yeah.
they're like, "Ha, okay, yeah, you're right."
But you know why though? Because they are Irish.
Yeah.
They literally are fucking Irish.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's so crazy when you find out that all these people who are like kind of unbreakable, weirdo dumbasses
Appalachians.
are all the same. They're all just Irish people who moved around.
Just where they just followed the Appalachian
Yeah.
Mountains down, and then they were like, "Hey,
Yeah.
look, there's a swamp down there."
Like all those fuckers in Canada, they're just Irish people.
Acadian.
Yeah, they're
Cajuns.
fucking Irish.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, what is up with Irish people? Like, Irish people have got there's something that happened there that is like,
I mean,
How long do you have?
that's
mean,
what I
but
was going to
for
say.
real,
There's a lot of books written about it,
there is. I mean, I have,
and then currently still some stuff going on.
there is. I think probably the greatest story I've ever heard in my entire life was from an Irish comedian. Like one of the most perfectly told. Like it had the speed.
Have you been there?
Been to Ireland?
Yeah.
I actually have once. Yes, I've been to Ireland. Yeah.
Where'd you go?
I went to Dublin, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Did you do a festival?
No, I was there with my friends on like a little trip we did. This is forever ago. I've never done the festival. I want to do it so. I'd love to do it.
Yeah, me too. I would love to come
If you
back.
ask
They
me,
loved me.
I'll go.
Remember?
I'll
They
do.
loved me.
They would love you.
No, the audience is really in a way that I was like, oh, you guys really like me. That's
Yeah.
cool. Like this first show was like, oh, I did well, and then the second show was like, oh, I'm doing better than other people.
It's because they're all the smartest rednecks.
It was,
the
and
whole
I was
country
making
is
fun
like-
of them like right to their face, and they really respected that.
They love it.
And then I just got their whole vibe.
Oh, we're taking the piss. How are you? Hi.
Just got it
Billy.
from the whole. And no one, my dad and I were walking. I took my dad, and we were walking back. I remember after like late.
Took your dad at
after
the
show.
festival.
Yeah,
That's cool.
and we were walking down like one of the drunk streets, and they're all pretty, you know.
One of them.
But you know, this was like where all the clubs were. Like if
Right.
this was America, there were like clubs on
Yeah.
like in these basements and stuff. But it was like outside the park, and you walk. It was like 1:30 after the shows were over, and we're walking back. And, you know, there's drunk people everywhere, and I was like, "Oh, Dad, do you notice like no one has gotten in our face or yelled at us at all?"
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "If this were anywhere in the United States at this time in this kind of street,
Yeah.
we would be on guard." And he was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, I don't give a shit." I was like, "There is no people are hammered into themselves."
Is it really safe there?
I don't know that quite,
Oh.
but I'm just
It
saying.
feels safe, huh?
But as the drunk people, they weren't outwardly aggressive
Yeah.
towards strangers.
Yeah.
Which is a very American drunk thing that I was like, "Oh, this is very alarming."
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a.
Was it weird to not drink when you were there? Or you've been sober for so long it doesn't matter, does it?
There was a day where I was like, I think it would be cool to have a Guinness,
Yeah.
but not that cool because I think it would make me sick.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, like I was, no, it wasn't weird because there's so much new stimulations in new place.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I didn't even need, I got some terrible, like, kind of dirt weed from a Irish comic while I was there, and it was so bad I was like, I don't even need this. It's okay.
Some fucking dirt weed for you.
And then Fern Brady gave me a cookie that might have gave me like just a little bit of head change.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you're sober with your dad.
Yeah, he was kind of drunk a couple times.
Okay.
That was kind of fun. Yeah.
Is that weird? That's gotta be interesting to be sober on a. I've never had that experience before. To be the one who's, because my dad and my parents are so, not my mom, but my dad's so like not, a party whatsoever.
My dad's not like he wasn't like, I guess drunk's probably not the best word. He was like.
Inebriated.
Yeah, he probably had like 2 or 3.
Intoxicated by the Irish spirit.
He's louder than normal.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not like a problem, but more like if you knew him, you'd be like, all right.
Does his accent even thicker than yours?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do the Irish make of that? They must love it, right?
My accent, yeah, they really liked it.
Because we love theirs.
Yes. And then I think that I'm also a hillbilly, and that's what they are.
Yeah.
So I think that we had similar sensibilities that more than I even knew.
Right.
So there was just like a kind of instant connection where I was like, and I really had that thought where I was like, it'd be cool just to move here and be a star and never have to like leave.
I think that'd be a great idea.
I thought that the first time I went to Canada too, but then you look into it and you're like, there's only like 7 places to tour, so your tour's over pretty quick.
But if you are in Ireland, you can go to the UK easily. You can go to Scotland. You can go to France. You can go to all over Scandinavia easily. You can go to little islands and shit where people vacation. You can go to Italy. You can go to Switzerland.
They go to the Middle East a lot too, because it's like 5-hour flight.
Yeah, because I did this weird tour in the Middle East with an Irish comic and a Scottish comic.
Was it?
It was the same one. I had to be.
Did you go to Dubai first?
Yeah, Dubai, Doha,
and then
Bahrain. Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't know about this?
It didn't last long.
Guess what? I was the first tour.
I might have been one of the last ones.
Probably, because I'll tell you
No,
why.
you know who I think ruined it? Who's very popular now?
Who?
Mark
Marone?
Norman.
How would he ruin it?
I just think he not like.
Drinking in the Middle East.
Well, I think not ruined it, but was more of a it became more of a headache than it was like a moneymaker, because I was asking about it towards the end because I was fascinated. I was like, the crowds weren't that big. Ever.
The crowds were, 3 of the shows I did got canceled because they didn't promote them. So there was set up, beautiful outside space in Dubai, this nice hotel, everything's there.
Was it the one with the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Beautiful hotel.
amazing.
I've said it before on this podcast many times. Best breakfast I've ever had in my entire life was at that buffet.
Yes.
Because you're so fucking jet lagged, and you're out there. It's like
the coffee's awesome.
And the guys who work there.
I mean, being a rich person is awesome.
Yes.
That's what it felt like.
That's what it is. But there's a level of this is
not rich. That was we were wealthy for a week. And to them, we were poor people still.
But also, what it is they do service in a way that
it's slaves.
It's a different.
But it's slaves.
It is, but it's not though, because
it is.
It's not. I'm sorry, it's not. Those guys, the guys who work in this hotel, they are not slaves.
Yes, they are.
Totally are. They have
No,
their
they're not.
passports
Those
taken.
guys aren't. You guys are. There are a bunch of people who come. Those guys. The people who are coming from fucking Nepal, those guys are legitimately, they are slave workers. They take their passports away. But the guys who speak better English than me, who speak multiple languages, who are.
I mean, whatever we got to tell ourselves, but I know that.
They're not.
I know that my take on Dubai was.
I don't like it any more than you do. I do not approve of Dubai. I made fun of Dubai significantly afterwards
but
because
you're right,
of what I
the
learned.
food, everywhere I went, the buffets were amazing. The one, the Intercontinental.
It's so long ago I don't remember.
And
But
Bahrain was awesome.
yeah, I mean,
Although that was the most real Middle East.
Yes,
Bahrain was that we got.
Everything you're saying, I agree with you. I have the same thought as I walked around Bahrain. I was like, this feels like the country I'm in, not just some sort of like a fucking Nike ad or something like that.
Well,
or
that's
a
what
Rolex ad.
United Arab Emirates is a Nike ad.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's
And
nothing
then
there.
Doha was I got.
Doha's beautiful, but it's also just.
Did you go
blank.
walk around?
I tried to, and I just couldn't get anywhere because there's no like.
I called a taxi to come
did?
get me at the Hilton,
Right.
Because I wanted to go see that downtown because it looks
Right.
like Dr. Seuss got his engineering degree.
Yeah.
Is what it looks like. And then the cab driver was super confused
Why
because
you
I
want
was
to go?
like, he's like, you want me to let you out right here? And I was like, yeah, dude. He was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, that was weird. And I like paid him a little more than I should have, you
Yeah.
know, but I was just like, whatever, you know. And then I'm walking around and I realized like, oh, there's no goddamn sidewalks.
Yeah,
I'm not.
that's what I'm
And
saying.
I've got shorts on, but I've also got aviator sunglasses on, and I look like this. So no one's actually stopping me either because that hit me as I'm walking around. Oh, I do look like, because for a while I was like just very confident. Like
Yeah.
I was just in a tourist in it. And then it hit me. I was like, I do look like I could be in the CIA. So
You think that's what it is?
the kind of confidence I was walking around with, for sure. And then I walked in one of those buildings that I thought, this is before I really understood what was happening. And I
Okay.
didn't really know research on Doha at all.
Yeah.
That on purpose, because I was like, I've never heard of this place. I just want to go. And then I got
Yeah.
there and I was like, what in the fuck is this place? And then,
Got
so
that.
I walk in, and it's one that looks like you could go to the top and look. And I thought there would be an observation deck, and it felt like a villain's, like a comic book. I walk
Yeah.
in there, and there's just one dude sitting at the desk, and it's just grandiose as hell. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. And he looks like, he doesn't look scared, but he is like super like confused by me
Right.
and couldn't hide it. Was just like, I was like, I want to, he goes, can I help you? And I was like, I want to go is there an observation deck or something? I'd like to go up there. And he was like, what? He did speak great English.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, this, I'm from the United States, so blah, blah, blah. I just kind of talked to him. And you could then he kind of like, you could see his guard come down and was
Okay.
like less confused. And then he was like, oh, this guy's an idiot, kind
Yeah.
of, and does not understand. He was like, oh, no, we don't have that, blah, blah, blah. And was just kind of like,
Get out of here.
in a polite, but I was like, I understand that I don't need to be in here. But I also didn't, so then I'm walking around, I see some dudes and some, you can tell by the,
The quality of the thobe.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, and then I see an ad for Mini Coopers where it's like, why buy 2 when you can get 3?
Mm-hmm.
And I took a picture of that because I was like, oh, that's their marketing. It's like, buy 3.
By 3 cars.
Buy 3 cars. Makes more sense. Get 3.
It's absurd.
And so I was like, huh, I don't see that a lot. And then I walked around, and that's when they were still getting ready for the World Cup. They were starting to build.
Oh yeah, this was many years after, because I was there the year they lost it because of actual, real, bad practices with them.
Well, they were starting to build everything there.
Yeah.
Maybe they had just gotten it.
They just got it again because they lost it because they were like, you guys can't have this because everyone knows that you are employing, you're not giving water to people.
Yeah,
And they're dying.
slaves.
They're dying. Yeah, they're slaves.
So I get back. The same cab driver, I guess, might have been following me. I don't like.
Right.
He found me again and was just like, hey, and then he drove me through like the real Doha, which looks like a Jason Bourne movie where it's just like
nice.
where it was really cool.
Yeah.
But it's like those buildings that look like they're crumbling, but there's 9 direct TV
Yeah.
satellites.
And a bunch of laundry hanging out.
It was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then he took me around there, let this one guy out, and then had a bunch of questions for me.
He did? Did he
was
stop
like-
the car and go, okay.
No, he was just more like, "What were you doing?" And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Hey, what the fuck is going on down here?" I was like, "Cause there's like no one down there either.
Right. There's nobody.
Nothing. It's empty."
Mm-hmm.
And then, but it's lit up like crazy.
Right. It has to be. Otherwise, it would look bad.
And then the next day, that night, we had a show at the top of that hotel that we stayed in, the Hilton, which, by the way,
I remember that now. Yeah.
which had been bombed. I knew I had heard of the
wow.
Doha Hilton before, and it was just, there was some.
I don't remember if that was the same one I did a show at or not. I
But
can't
at the
remember.
top is where we did our show. We
Yeah.
were there for a couple of days. their airport there was amazing.
You could smoke in there, right? In the Doha, in the Hilton.
You could smoke anywhere
Yeah, that
we
was
went.
the best. You could smoke everywhere.
Everywhere we went, there was smoking.
I didn't smoke. I just thought it was so cool.
I had
like, oh my
just
God,
quit
yes.
too. Yeah, I had just quit and was just like, this is a test because it's okay here. And then, then that night I was looking after the show and I had I mentioned that I went walking around and that got a couple gasp that I walked around like just from
Right.
and then there was maybe like 30 people at the show.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
And then afterwards I'm like standing there looking at the skyline and then this British dude walks up and he just starts talking to me and I was like, hey, and I was like, what do you do? And he's like, I'm a diver. And I was like, okay. And he just smiled.
Why? Because he's not really a diver?
The way he said it was like special for, you know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm here.
He's a military asset?
Yeah, well, all of Qatar is like base.
Is it?
Oh yeah. There's Russian stuff there. There's
Qatar.
American stuff there.
Yeah.
So like it is like because this first morning, because I like airplanes. The first morning we were there, I had jet lag.
Can I shock you? I like airplanes too.
I knew you did. Yeah.
A lot.
Well,
I like them a lot.
Did you go to Oshkosh growing up?
Not growing up, but I went there about 5 years ago.
The fly-in? That's the craziest thing.
I didn't fly in. You flew in?
No, I've never done it. I want to do it.
You know how to fly?
Huh?
You know how to fly?
No.
Okay.
Not officially.
Not officially.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd like to learn. 2 MiGs, just flying in pattern, and it took me a second. I was like, what? And then it hit me. I was like, oh yeah, there's a reason I've never seen those. Those are 2 Russian. And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, Qatar has like everybody gets to have a base in Qatar.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that was fascinating.
Saudi too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you kind of like it's
Saudi's just like a pay-to-play kind of thing.
yeah.
Qatar's more like everybody. It's like a Switzerland vibe.
It is, yeah. They're also the most. It's the wealthiest country, right?
Yeah, I think because there's not many people.
Yeah.
So that's what I
Had someone tell me that the teachers get paid. You make about $150,000 a year as like an elementary school teacher there. This was about 10 years ago, you know.
I bet it's more than that now.
Yeah, the airport was the cleanest. I remember touching something and having it be cleaned seconds later.
Yeah. The one
Seconds.
in the Doha.
The Doha.
With that big bear.
Yep, the big bear.
That's the best airport I've ever been in.
Yep.
Yes. And did you fly Emiratis?
Mm-hmm.
That's the best airline in
Pretty
the world.
Pretty great.
Yeah. No, that one bar none.
Yeah, I also flew on, I think the Qatar airline as well.
Qatar, yes.
Same thing. Just very nice.
Yes, and it had it looked like a goat mixed with a deer.
I think it's an Impala maybe, or like a kudu or something like that.
It was. That's why
Yeah.
I chose not to even.
Even
I was like, I'll
speculate?
describe what it looks like, but
Maybe it's
with
an
the words
oryx.
I know how to pronounce.
Maybe it's an Impala, something like that. Some sort of a fast-moving deer.
Do you know what else I saw there that's not in the United States that bummed me out? Land Cruiser trucks.
Oh my God, yes.
I looked for months after that.
No,
and
you
then
can't get them. You can't get them in the United
because
States unless you want to have a right-hand side drive. I don't want to drive a car that's the wrong side. I
You
can't do
still
that.
can't even get them for that.
Yeah, you can. You can get them. You can get them. You can import anything. And
I
you can
understand
definitely
that,
get that.
But they're so hard
They're
to
so
find.
nice too, and they're
They're
also
awesome.
they
They're
look
awesome.
old,
It
but
was-
they're brand new.
They're the coolest
Oh,
trucks. I was so mad
ultimate truck.
when I saw them. I was like, "What in the hell?"
Yeah, just the best thing.
Have you
saw
seen
one.
the Suzuki Jimmy that's available in Mexico?
No.
It is cool. It just
Really?
looks like an old box, like SUV.
Yeah.
It looks like if they remade the Bronco 2,
Ooh.
modernized it, and you can't get them here because, like the Bronco 2, they just tip over like crazy.
Oh shit! The new Bronco tips.
No, the old Bronco.
Bronco
2.
2. Oh, okay. What's this? Is this the Bronco 5? What is it?
I don't know. There's just a whole line of Broncos now.
Bronco.
It's like
No, thank you.
it's like the Midwest Range Rover. Is that what it is?
Maybe. Kind of, yeah. I mean, maybe the.
You got a Honda, don't you?
I do.
It's a good truck.
It's good. Man, I think I'm gonna get rid of it though. I'm just sick of having a truck. It's too big. It's just too big.
But it's not.
It
I think
is.
that thing is like the perfect size truck, isn't it?
It's not. It's not as small as you think.
And it's not an S10.
No, it's not an
That's
S10.
true. I had a Ford Ranger. Long
It's
bed.
not a Ranger.
That's what I started.
The old
comedy
Ranger
in.
was nice. Had a nice low bed.
Yeah, I love that truck. Totaled it.
No, the Ridgeline does not. Ridgeline does not have a low bed. It has a high bed. It's basically a mid-sized truck. It's basically a Tacoma, and
Sounds great.
yeah, but it's too big to drive. I don't go off road enough anymore to justify having that truck. I love driving it, but I want something different.
What do you want?
Honestly,
No,
Well-
lyingly.
I want to have a car that my wife and I can share that we both like. It's like a hybrid, something like that. Something that's nice, you know what I mean? And then I want to get something rusty. I want to get
You know what you should get?
a fucking rusty little Chevy, like a 1986 Malibu.
Huh.
Something
I
that
think
looks
you should-
like a
you-
scary car.
But I think it would be great if you got like a late model, those BMWs, those dudes turn into like, those early 80s ones, they turn into like race cars.
Those are so coveted now. The
Oh,
price you
are
pay
they?
for them. Any late 80s German car is it's a joke.
Because they're well made too.
They're
right?
well made, but all the people who couldn't afford them back in the
Oh.
day have money now, and they will pay literally anything.
I did
for
see
a low
a
mileage
YouTube about a
Porsche.
dude that bought all those Lamborghini Countach.
Kunta?
Countach.
The Kunta, yeah.
And
That-
everybody's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "It'll come back."
Yeah, and he's right.
And
He's
they
fucking
are
right,
right
yeah.
now. And he's like, he's making like $1 gillion.
Yeah. Same with like any Porsche from the 80s. God, don't even get started. The 70s Porsches.
I love Porsches. I think they're the coolest look. They look
Because
like
they are.
perfect cars.
It's the perfect car. It's the best design car of all time.
It is.
Everybody knows it.
Have you? They even look cool when they like off road them.
Everything about them. They're the perfect car, the best
I
made
agree.
car. Everything about it, the Porsche is the best. And the 70s Porsches are only for millionaire collectors. The 80s Porsches now are becoming. I met a guy just the other day who had an 86 911. I was like, what? This is so nice. It was cherry.
Sure, with the
Real-
weird spoiler.
Yeah, they call it like a duck bill or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful car. He bought it for, he said, for 22,000, maybe 30,000. This is 10 years ago. It's worth double that now. Double that. And this has been 10 years for a car that's got over 100,000 miles on it. It's absurd.
But there's so many people that know how to work on them, and there's so
Yeah,
many of those parts.
but people just want them so bad because they're so fucking cool. They're just like the coolest car.
They are
Because
the
it's not
coolest.
a new car, which new car implies, you're like a douchebag. It's kind of statusy. But a vintage Porsche is just the ultimate in terms of the intersection between cool and also you've got money. It's
If
like
you
the
had-
ultimate car.
What would be the brand new car you would get?
Brand new?
Yeah.
If I get any car?
Yes.
God, I don't even know because I don't really.
I don't think like that either. That's why I was like.
Gosh.
But I'm not like a car dude either.
I like
them.
cars so much.
I like them.
But I'm
I
like-
appreciate them, but
Yeah.
I will look at airplanes and helicopters. That's what I would spend that money on.
They don't really work the same. Like you can kind of.
I have a car
You can
already.
drive your car to the helicopter.
I know, but I have a car. But I'm talking about like the money I would spend on like a crazy car
Yeah.
would just go to like aviation.
Right. Okay.
Does that make
I
sense?
mean, it's a good way out of it.
It's just wasteful.
I just honestly don't know what new car I would want that would be like sky's the limit. I don't know. God, I have to think about this because
all time.
what's that all time? All time would probably be like a late like a early 80s 911. Early 80s 911 Carrera 4 with a target top. Probably like that, or maybe like what would be kind of cool would be a maybe like a turbo diesel Mercedes with low miles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like I
Be
don't know
cool.
what year. I think the Land Cruisers are pretty great.
Yeah, those are great too. But those are the same as the Porsches.
No,
where
I know.
people
I
want
know.
them so fucking
they-
bad. If you get low
And I follow
mileage,
them. They get them and they redo
Yeah.
them and they make them look really pretty too. It's the same as a Porsche, where it's
yeah,
like,
with
art.
all the analog knobs and stuff.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
I might get one of those new Land Cruiser trucks if I get anything. If
The
I get
Defender.
no, not the Defender.
Oh, are you talking about
the one? The one that one that you and I are talking about. The one that's the truck.
It's
It's
not
kind
a
of
Land
boxy.
Cruiser. It's a different brand.
It's
It's like
a Toyota.
Oh, you're talking about the Lincoln. I've got something cooler than that.
Really? What is it?
Hold on, I'll mispronounce the name, but
That's fine.
it is.
Grenadier?
Yeah,
Yeah, those
You
are
know
cool.
what I'm
I looked into those.
yeah, they're like 150 grand.
They're cheaper than that.
Are they?
Yeah, they are cheaper.
Oh, nice.
They also have too much electronics. They're great cars though.
They do have a lot of more electronic and like switches
Yeah.
and flips. It's almost like a military Hummer.
It
on
is.
the
It's a
inside.
BMW engine though.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. So it's good and bad. Some people say it's great. I mean, I've looked. I almost got a Grenadier. I almost got one. I was close to getting one. I still might get
I
one.
think you should.
But again, it's too big.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you
Like-
live here, I wouldn't. That's why. Yeah, we
I want
can't
a
have
small
one here.
car. I want a little car. I want like a tiny car that's really safe.
like a Mini Cooper.
No.
You get two or three. Get two or three of them.
Oh, maybe I could chain them together, like
Yeah,
a little,
just
like a caterpillar.
It'll be fun.
A car centipede.
And then you could pull Walton behind in one of them.
Yeah.
Around, I think you should. And you guys work in, where's that film, in Florida?
What, I don't know what you're talking about.
Is that just a train? Did you invent the train?
The train. Yeah, pull it. I would love to have a train. Wait, you would want a helicopter for real? What kind of helicopter would you get?
No, I don't want a helicopter.
Oh,
No, I would do one, and this is one of my goals is to have my own little personal, like 4-seater.
do you know how to fly a helicopter?
No, I don't want to. There's too many moving parts to have
Have
a
you-
helicopter.
Let me ask you this: have you talked to your wife about interest in learning to fly a helicopter?
Not a helicopter, an airplane.
Airplane. What? So you have no interest in learning to fly a helicopter?
None.
Oh, I did. My wife shut that down so fast. So fast.
Well, there's, my wife would not.
Would
She
not
would
show
be,
you-
She would be okay with it.
You learning to fly a helicopter?
Yes, but
I mean, if she
I don't
learned a
think
little bit more, she'd
I
probably
know.
like, no, I want you to I want you to stay alive.
It is there. I mean,
That's not good.
there's so many moving parts,
Yeah.
and no, those are. Well, with an airplane, that's why I've always wanted
Oh.
to fly, and since I was. But airplane, if something happens, it does turn into a glider.
Some
Mostly.
under ideal conditions.
But you can.
I mean, I know how to fly a little bit.
but you can
I took
get
ground
it
school.
to that point, and then
You can with some like a Cessna, yeah.
yes, and then
A
most of
Cessna,
them. And
like a-
then the little jets and the little
Yeah.
aircraft now they have parachutes.
They do.
Yes.
The jet does, or for you?
No, for the jet.
Really?
Yes.
No way. Like
And a
how-
lot of the single engine planes
God.
have
Parachutes?
So when
That's
stuff
fucked.
goes, you parachute, and your plane just parachutes down.
Oh, could you imagine looking down? Oh, I would
You're
not
like,
like
it's
that.
You're like, this is gonna hurt, but
It's
I'm
gonna
not
hurt,
gonna
but
die.
I'm not gonna die, or maybe not die super fast.
Fast, yeah.
Maybe you'll die slowly in a hospital later, as opposed to instantly.
I mean, at that point, if you're like thinking that, you're like, let's just cut it.
You get to say goodbye.
Just cut the.
God, I did not know that. It's interesting because those little planes are funny, man. Those things are cool. But
Yeah.
helicopter, I don't know. Something about a helicopter to me is just so badass. But it's one of the best jokes I ever heard years ago. I don't know who to credit this to. Someone said, helicopters can't actually fly. God just thinks they're so cool, he lets them. Like, that just kind of makes sense.
Well,
'Cause it seems like it shouldn't work.
Well, it's beating the air.
Yeah.
Which is like a weird concept.
And also, if the tail rotor fucks up, that's it.
Well,
The
some
tail
of them
rotor's
don't
gone?
have them.
What doesn't have a tail? Like a Robinson?
I forget the name of it,
The
but
little ones that sound like.
there's
that one?
they use them for like certain special forces, and there's the LAPD has one, and it
course.
sounds a certain way. I can hear it
sounds like-
when it's coming away. It is. It's quieter,
Yeah, it's a Robinson, I think.
and there's no tail rotor.
I thought the Robinson has a tail rotor. How does it not have a tail rotor though? Because doesn't
I
it
don't
have to have?
understand it. I'm just aware of
There
it.
you go. Because God's like, well, we'll let this pass here. It's like flat Earth, right?
Are you a flat Earth guy?
Oh, hardcore, obviously.
Makes sense.
I love
Especially
it.
someone that flies a lot too. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of flat Earth, is that I would love so bad to meet like a really, friendly one who didn't get mad all the time, but meet a flat earther and talk to them and just be like, so how do they get all these pilots on board? How do they do that? How do they get all of them to be like,
Also, why
we're
are
gonna-
people flying from Asia over the North Pole to?
Well,
to
they would say
Anchorage to save time.
that they have their. That's what I love about the flat earthers is they're geniuses in the way that they explain the thing to you.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
like-
well, the mental gymnastics.
Well, you know why that is, right? It's because the globalists know this, and they're expecting us to do that.
Oh, you're
thing.
talking about they've been listening to Alex Jones.
Yeah, that kind of thing, or it's even beyond Alex Jones because it's less performative. You know what I mean? It's more like it's definitely a little Alex Jones though. You know?
No, but I mean the way they connect things that don't connect.
The talking points are built into the thing.
Yeah, they're built
yes.
in,
And then
they're
there's
how everything is
confirmation
about.
bias.
Definitely confirmation bias. I feel like my entire life is confirmation bias. Everything that everyone's ever thought, every opinion anyone's ever had about sports is confirmation bias. You know what I mean? Like everything is confirmation bias all the time because no one ever actually knows for sure. You know that maybe one team is going to blow out one team because it's the worst team playing the best team, but everything else is like, it's
That's
you
why
you get it right once.
I don't. Yeah, I think it was high school. I remember being like, because you grew up. You were like,
Yeah, I grew up.
You mostly.
I grew up.
You grew up in Minnesota, but you understand that like football, like, where I remember being in high school and being like, I don't want to care enough that this affects the rest of my week.
Oh, I didn't give a shit about it at all. I hated it actively.
So I like going.
But you played football.
Yeah, and I like playing it. That's why I think I had that separation of other teams where I was like, I'm not on that team. I don't care if we win or not. I mean, if I'd like to, I'll cheer for them. But if we don't, there's only so much impact I had on that.
But Billy, why? What do you mean?
People were like, if the Vols would lose, they were like upset the next week for a couple days.
Yeah.
Where I was like, why are you mad? And they're like, just worried about Tennessee. Like, man, you don't even play like in our town. You know that's the part that I'm like, you don't play for our team. You're just like, there's no chance you'd ever play for that team.
And you hate education.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, it is very strange that.
And then you see how happy every football player is to be playing football. And they have friends on their side of the team. They're talking. They're having a good time.
No, it was like, as soon as the game's over, you're probably like, man, you knocked the shit out of me.
Except for Mahomes, everybody's happy.
People in the stands are like,
yeah.
There's fights.
You know what? The one time, I mean, I've told you about this before, but I went to the Florida State Auburn Rose Bowl, probably 2012, whenever that was. It was the national championship.
Whoa.
I went there with my friend Mark. We got tickets last minute, and it was one of those games where the last 2 minutes was, oh, Auburn's going to win. Oh, Florida State's definitely going to win. Oh, my God, they just beat Auburn. Like, it just flipped over a bunch. The atmosphere there, everybody was so happy. Yeah. Like, Auburn fans, Florida State were all just like, hey, how you doing,
We're
man?
the best.
Oh, my God,
We're the best.
Like, no one gave a shit. Even when they lost, it was just, oh, man, it was just so happy to be here.
That's
like,
I was just
so happy.
Just in New Orleans, and they postponed the game because of the thing. And then the terrorist attack.
Yeah.
That thing. And then the and then they but that was the same vibe. Was like even the team
just
that
stoked.
lost was still just like, hey, it's pretty fun. We're still in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. You're like, yep.
Well, who was playing the Saints? It was
No, it was the Sugar Bowl. It
was
shit.
Who was
Notre Dame and Georgia.
Notre Dame and Georgia. Mm-hmm. Who won?
Notre Dame.
So they won the national championship.
No, it's the playoffs. Now they're
I thought the Sugar Bowl was the
No, not every year. No. It changes, man.
Well, did they change it this year? So
now there's like a Final Four that's happening this weekend, right?
That's all because of Florida State, though, right?
What?
You know what happened last year?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Florida State went undefeated.
You sound like Bert Kreischer. It's because of Florida State, right?
Well, this is actually a noteworthy thing. Is Florida State went undefeated, but was not allowed to compete in the national championship, even though other teams were not undefeated.
Really?
It was this thing where everyone was like, "What the fuck?" It's because they don't.
I didn't even notice.
They don't have to. There's the collegiate, whatever they call it, the empire of college football. NCAA, wherever it is, they're not required. The record is not a requirement to let you in the national championships. They choose who plays, and they thought Florida State's strength of schedule was not enough to warrant them. It's just utter, complete bullshit. Enough.
That's happened before.
You know what I like? I like how gambling is like just in bed with all the sports, just and the broadcasting, just completely. because that doesn't make me question every outcome or every missed call or.
It's definitely ruined. The thing about it is, like you're saying, it's not. Maybe they have no influence at all, but it's making you think about it.
It's just
It's
it
making you
does to
think
me.
about
I
it.
don't mind legalized gambling. I understand that's part of. I think we should have legalized prostitution, but I don't think it should be so embedded with the broadcast.
They're talking about point spreads and
Point
shit.
spreads and who hit the under and doing that.
No,
And you're like, hey, y'all don't need to be. This needs to be on the gambling network. It doesn't need to be on the sports network. But ESPN has their own bet network.
But they do
covertly to like let you know, oh, this is a 3-point spread, and now it's like that's all it's about.
That's all. I mean,
it's terrible. It's ruining everything. But they have to make it that way, I think, because if they don't make it that way, then it becomes this thing that's nefarious. And the reason they're making so much money right now is people who would never touch a beer or touch a cigarette are betting on sports because they don't think of it. It's not like a dirty thing anymore.
Well, it's on their phone.
It's on their
too.
fucking phones and shit. There's so much stuff like that. Like I saw a commercial the other day that had Chris Pine, I think. Not Chris Pine. Who's the other guy?
I saw it. It was like a Monopoly.
Yeah,
ad thing,
Monopoly
right?
ad. What's his name? Chris.
It was 3 big stars, wasn't it? Yeah, very, very large stars.
It makes you think, how much money is that making?
No, that was
How much money is that game
the
making?
first time I saw that commercial, I was like, wow, how much did they pay them?
They paid them $500,000.
How much is that app making?
They probably paid them, I bet, $250,000 to $500,000 to be in the ad.
I bet they got 7 figures.
Or if they didn't get 7 figures, they got a piece of the game. Like it's a high end deal. They get a huge
With a big
piece up
back
front
end,
with back end.
Parlays.
Yeah, honestly. So it's like it makes you think people are spending that much money on your fucking mobile game that you can. Woo, that's crazy.
Remember the crypto ads 2 years ago?
Oh my god, yeah, the crypto ads with Matt
that
Damon
all
and
became,
shit.
That was a scam, right?
Yeah, it was a scam. I mean, was that pump and dump basically? It basically was,
Every
right?
single one of them except for Bitcoin. And technically, Ethereum.
Not well. I
Yeah.
saw it. No, there's more than some. I saw a great quote the other day about, hey, crypto isn't just pump and dump. There's also this scam and this scam and
fifth
there's
level
this.
Ponzi,
There's
there's
a
other
lot of
scams.
different
Yeah.
scams involved.
Yeah.
It's not just one scam. It's
not
a
just one
bunch. You
scam,
can
it's
do
many
so
scams.
many scams.
That's the versatility of the crypto market. Is the how it's.
Do you
so-
think Hawk 2 is going to jail?
I don't think so. Probably not.
Probably not, but she did. She said the craziest thing where she's like, all right, I'm just going to sleep.
I did see that one where CoffeeZilla that.
What does that mean? I'm just going to sleep.
She gave up some of her indemnity basically because she like acknowledged that she's like, I'm in on the grift and I hate this and I don't care.
She kind of. There was some kind of like MySpace or Twitter space
Yeah.
thing that was her. She was on there, and someone was like, "Hey, this was a scam," and she's like, "Fuck you, it's not a scam." Blah blah blah. And they're like, "Here's how it's a scam," and then just showed her, and then she was like, "Hey y'all, this is weird. But anyway, I'm going to bed. It's good night." And then she hasn't been heard from since.
How long has it been?
Like
2 weeks, 3 weeks.
That's
Yeah.
a long time, actually. Wow. So maybe she will get something.
I think someone was like, "Hey, you need to this," because it was
You need
like
to go dark.
she was like, well, she tried to do that hot girl Southern small town thing. Was like, you ain't shit, fuck you,
Yeah.
and then peel out, and then
Peeling out.
this dude was like, cool, you peeled out, and then the car quit, and she was like, the guy was like, well, here's how it was a scam, and this is what this is, and this is how you guys did that,
And
and
you got to talk to the SEC.
yeah, and
But
then-
she didn't even probably. I mean, there's a good chance that if she didn't, she will claim that she's a victim as well. That she was misled.
but I mean,
But also, ignorance of the law is not an excuse from it. But
It's-
also, she will be
just-
judged by not us.
I think if someone's like, "Hey, you're doing a coin," and
It's
you're
like- remember-
okay, cool.
Remember that guy, the big Wall Street Ponzi guy, like 15 years ago, Bernie Madoff. Remember how there's so many people I knew were
The
like,
king.
right, Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff lost all of his people's money. He needs to be worse than jail. He needs to be killed. And I said to them, do you think the people who gave Bernie Madoff money thought he was legit?
Yes.
No, I don't think they
The
did.
Mets did.
No,
Maybe
no. I think
Those are people who were kind of like, these people who have a lot of money. These aren't like people off the fucking
He wasn't
street.
just some random trader. He was the head of NASDAQ. He founded the NASDAQ.
sure.
He had
But
so much institutional.
But
you're right. But he is also
but
right.
to get
So
but to-
what I'm saying, I
Right,
agree with
'cause-
what he's saying. He was able to get to those positions because a lot of people understood
that he was going to get
his
them.
returns were not
It's
actually
not possible. And to do that,
and they accepted that.
if you're a wealthy person, you have to be sort of savvy, so you're getting a lot back, and you gotta be okay, this is a lot back.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing, but I'm not gonna ask a
I'm
lot
not gonna
of
ask.
questions.
I'm not gonna ask. And when he gets caught, I'm so mad at him. So fucking mad. How he stole all of our money? It's like, you fucking idiot. You knew.
It's
You're
just
not
like
a
when you look
victim.
at some new comics, like YouTube stuff, and you're just like, okay, well, you're doing something. I don't know what it is, but it's not legit. You
Well,
know
it's
what-
legit because there's no like you can do whatever you want. It's Wild West.
But that's what I'm saying. But those aren't organic numbers.
Yeah, nothing's.
It's-
I mean,
But that's what I'm saying. But like
Yeah.
when it's early like that.
oh
like
yeah, for sure, absolutely. You're paying for.
when someone's just coming in, you do this, this, and this. Like
Yeah.
well, you're an open micer, and now you have 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
From Belarus. You know what I mean? Where it's like
Belarus, those are good guys. Those are.
we're no like comics
Belarus
don't
is-
say anything. We're like, I don't know what they're doing, but it's not
Yeah,
legit.
it's not
Well,
legit.
DJs, they all those record labels and all they like
Yeah.
because they know if you pay for so many streams, then
It'll pop you to the next level.
yes,
It's like a booster rocket.
yes. So
Yeah.
if you pay for those streams, then the platform will get you that many legitimate ones after that.
Don't get me started about child health. I don't know. I'm thinking of the thing that's. I mean, it's all correct. Everything. Everything isn't that under the
You're
same.
saying payola exists in show business?
Yeah,
I don't-
payola.
I hope.
I love that word
Because
payola
I keep
too.
saving
Payola.
my money so I can play.
That'd be a funny movie. A guy who's been saving up for one envelope of $10,000, just so he can his special little $10,000.
I'd like to
giving
be a
it to-
star
Yeah.
now.
He's giving it to Cypher Sounds.
They're gonna go oh yeah, yes. Thank you
Just
so
hand it
much.
to the bouncer.
Yes, we've got it. Oh, right. Well, you know what? Hold on a second. I'm gonna call. Oh, he's here right now. Yes, he is. You know what? They want to see you. They're gonna call you in 2 weeks. I
Walk
just
out
told
that
them
back
they're
door of
very
the belly room out the side.
very excited to see. He's very excited as well. Thank you for the money. Thank you for the help out there. Thank you for the donation. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of each other. Okay. I've got to go. Oop. Just the guy with it's his life is just the $10,000 payment.
I mean, that is how stars are made, right?
Sort of, but I think it's about 150 $10,000 payments in one day to every radio station.
I think that was back in the day, though. Now they just own the radio station.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be some type of payola going on, right? It makes sense.
I do think 70s and 80s payola and radio stations seemed like fun, where they had to come and be like, here's your drugs.
Yeah.
They do
Here's
the
your
face to
cash.
face and all that, all those.
Art to bribery. You can't just give a guy a sack of money.
It's there. I've always wondered that. And have you ever? What's it? Cocaine Cowboys.
Yeah.
There's another one about some of those other dudes that were running. I forget the name of the documentary, but it's awesome. But they talk
Scheme.
about one of those dudes is this guy was he was so good at bribing people, and I was
All right.
I always wondered how people do that. Because there has to be an art to it. Because bribing people, you can't just be so.
Yeah.
Because if you're a logical thinker, I guess you'd be there's I want us to be clear here what's happening so I don't get ripped off.
Say you
Well-
were trying to bribe John. You'd show up here with some cigarettes and be like, I have extra cigarettes. I know you don't need them, but you don't happen to know somebody that would smoke a lot or something. Because I can't hold on to these. I have too many.
Do you need cigarettes?
No, it's the same as what size is your wife? My wife ordered all these mink coats.
Exactly.
So
We can't send
how
them back.
Do you
She's
cash in?
an 8, right?
How do you cash
We got an
in?
8, Bob. We got an 8. Oh, we donate. Okay.
How do you
Take
cash
this.
in that favor? Then?
Cash in?
Yeah, because you just gave me this.
I
my
think
wife
it's
some
it's
stuff.
insurance for the future of the unknown.
If you take the bribe, you're going to cash in the favor.
That's what I'm saying. But then how do you? It can be any time for any reason.
Because
Yeah, anytime, any
the bribe
day.
is you're also complicit. So if you take it and don't give me the favor, you also did something dirty that I have on you.
I understand that, but how do you come? You just don't even know what the favor is yet.
No, you know.
I don't think you do all the time. I don't think you do all the time. I don't think you do. I think it's.
See, that's what I'm asking.
I think
'cause,
it's
like,
it's by. I think it can be a lot.
Because I've had people like try to do that to me sometimes.
Try to do what?
Just be like, hey, let's take some extra, like at clubs and stuff. Where you're
At
just
clubs, but you're a comedian.
like, sure.
You're allowed to have free food.
No, but I mean, like, there's just like shady promoters, not like clubs,
Right.
but like shady promoters over the years be like, hey, we got you on this and this, and you're just like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it feels like I don't need to owe you anything.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. But
Or
also,
that's more of a prison loan to me than like a bribe. Because to me, a bribe is what I'm talking about. Is like, I'm going to pay you some money because I need this taken care of.
Like, that's what I'm saying. You know ahead of time what you're getting out of the bribe. It is quid pro quo, not quid pro what.
But that's not all bribes. If like a mobster dude did that, I think a lot of times a bribe or
I
something
think
like
it's
that.
so clear Johnny and I are not criminals.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely very clear.
You how it works.
Yeah, we're just like, well, how do you even bribe somebody? It's like,
I'll say this. This is all I think I maybe feel like is correct. Is that sometimes people are trying to the bribe is to allow them to associate with someone who is not tainted by criminality. It's allowing someone to like to do. If you're like a squeaky clean person and you accept some form of a bribe, you get to
you
that
need to
person.
be removed from that.
Well, the person who is giving you the bribe is trying to associate themselves with you to clean up their image.
Sure.
I think that happens a lot
Oh,
with
yeah.
with. I mean, I feel like that happens with in Hollywood a lot. Is where people want to be with somebody who doesn't have any.
Well, that's all the roast.
Yeah.
Wasn't that why Bieber did a roast? Was because
Oh, really? I don't know.
he got in trouble.
He did.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, his image was tarnished. He wasn't squeaky, and then he
He's-
did the roast and made fun of himself, and then
Yeah.
came out the other side. But that was like, I think. Oh, you're talking about Hollywood. I don't.
you know what I,
I
mean?
think that
I mean, like,
proximity stuff in Hollywood with like fame and like being like, oh no, he's fine, he's cool, and then just slowly.
yeah, because you want someone
But we're
to-
talking about those are actual psychopaths. We're talking
actual. Those are
about sociopaths.
yeah, but
Maybe not psycho, but like.
I mean, they're everywhere, aren't? Isn't every industry?
Yes,
like,
I'm not
Yeah.
just. I'm not just saying they're in this one.
I
but
just mean that-
But who we're talking about, those kind of operators,
Yeah.
they don't love the craft of acting for the craft of acting. They're after so much more.
Yeah, or maybe they're both and they're geniuses, and they have to have a side game as well to keep them busy because they have I don't know. You know what I think it is? It's everything. There's everything that you
Well,
want.
that is the thing of Hollywood where people don't really. There's 900 games being played at all times.
Yeah.
And they overlap.
They overlap, and a lot of times the game is the thing, and sometimes the game isn't the thing.
Yes. Well, and you don't know what people's motivations are anymore because some people already have money and fame, and you're
Yeah.
like, why are you even doing a lot of this? And they don't know.
And some people don't know that they don't know because they
That's
just
true,
saw someone
too.
else do it and think, this is how you do it. It's like, why are you doing that? It's like, well, he did it. It's like,
Oh, there's
oh,
so much of
this
that.
is what you got to do.
Unknowns.
And then there's a lot of people that this part is fascinating to me that want jobs they don't want.
Hey.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty common, though.
You know, but I mean, they'll fight for those jobs.
Yeah, because you want to have the thing that, because you want to feel good that you got it.
Sure,
and
but
not
then you're
actually-
like, now you got to do that goddamn job, man.
Yeah.
That's always me. I was like, I always think that the Colbert Report was the first one where I was like, I got the writing packet and I was doing the writing packet
Right?
and I was just getting fucking mad as fuck doing the packet. But I mean, you know, the show, I liked the show, and then it hit me. as I was turning it in, I was mad the whole time. And I was like so relieved. And then it hit me. I was like, oh, this would be every day.
Yeah. It's a job.
I would feel like this. I would get mad every day.
Yeah.
And then feel this relief when I turned it in.
Oh, you would have a heart attack.
And then I would have to repeat that
Yeah.
and I was like, or I could just go on the road and wander a town and not make as much money. But I did have that thought where I was like, oh, I couldn't write for this show.
Yeah.
Even though I did turn the packet in and didn't get an interview even, but
I've only done one packet ever, I think. Maybe two? I don't know.
I thought that was a nice gift that I got.
Right.
Was that realization of being like, oh, you don't actually want this.
Yeah.
You want the announcement of getting it.
Oh, absolutely.
The picture.
Yes.
Everybody
the
wants
headline.
wants the
here's
picture.
the writing staff, and but the daily thing,
It's
is
a
what
grind.
and you need to enjoy that part too to do that job well.
Yeah, I think you have to. Otherwise, you
It will
wouldn't be
kill
able to
you,
do it.
or you will kill somebody else.
Your ideal scenario was like a Shane Gillis situation, like you're hired and fired in the same week.
I mean, not even. I didn't even want to get hired. I did want to go do the interview and meet like some of those people, but like,
Or you get hired and they show up. Oh, I can't go. I can't do the job, guys. I can't work. I forgot I have to go to Europe for 6 weeks.
yeah, I've got to.
I've got
stand up.
my grandmother and stand up.
No, I think my thought with turning it in was like, oh, if I get an interview or something, I will meet them and then
I just spilled.
not be right for it, but them someday be like, oh, we can throw him in this little thing.
Yeah.
That kind of like that part of meeting people and doing that. But it was like a nice realization, be like, oh, I would not like this.
Yeah, I think that's it takes a long time to realize stuff that you don't want to do. It took me until very recently to realize a bunch of stuff. I said, oh, I think the reason I'm not successful at this is I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to, because you're surrounded by so many people who are obsessed with a certain thing, whatever it is, they're obsessed with wanting to do that thing. And if you don't want to do that the same way, you seem like you're crazy. Like, what are you doing if you don't want to, if you don't want that? But they're so close, but they're not the same.
Yeah. Or there's a lot of people be like, hey, you do that, you should do this. And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't really want to do that. And they're like, you
Yeah.
should, though. And you're like, I don't really want to. Like, I like to act. I don't like to audition. And that's a very
Really?
important part of acting.
Why don't
Yeah.
you like to audition?
It makes me feel yucky.
Yucky? How so? Like you have to submit?
No, that part doesn't bother me. I
Really?
was a
Okay.
fucking athlete, so I'm
Right.
used to
Yeah.
some
Coach is right.
some dipshit telling me what to do.
Yeah.
I can listen. That's why I like acting. Like,
Yeah.
like once I've been on stuff, I'm like, I'm pretty decent at it because it's just
Right.
listening and doing what you're told. And
That's true.
but there's a part of the audition process where you can see they don't know what they fucking want.
Yeah.
In that part, I think the hillbilly farm kid in me, that part feels like a waste of time, and it's not. I know it's not, and that's that's the yucky part where I'm like, this is
Right. Because it is a waste. Also, we're talking about a thing that doesn't exist anymore.
that
Like,
part.
it
too.
really does not exist.
That part is very true.
Like, it's
too.
just, yeah, that's so crazy too. It's just, it's gone. It's definitely gone. Not coming back. It's gone. That's so sad. It's just gone. Whole thing. I have a whole skill that just, it's like knowing how to, I don't know, do something with lead. Or
Isn't self-taping the way people used to date in the 80s?
oh, they did have that. They did have a lot of.
It would be like a room like this,
Yeah.
kind of. They come in and they'd be like, "Hey, what's up? My name's Trevor.
No, there was video dating. That was a thing.
I like
Yeah,
to
the
go
orig-
to TGI Fridays, which was like a hot spot. That's
Or
where,
the guys would try to be cool, come like, oh, excuse me, just drop my keys to my Mercedes. What do I like? Long walks on the beach, pina coladas. Just kidding. Actually, I hate the beach, but I love it. I'm looking for a girl who likes to have fun, has long hair, and doesn't mind a guy who's under 5'6". I think I would have booked it, right? booked it.
That's tape number A156. A156. Johnny P.
If you
The lines are busy.
if you play with the format, they love you. Play with the format.
He's funny.
He's funny.
Charming. He's
mean-
funny and well, like what works as if when you're dating is not good for like a long-term partner. Like the behavior you need.
Is it though?
I think about this like your behavior when you're like dating women
Yeah.
and like how they want everyone's expecting to act. You're supposed to impress them. And that
Right.
like, that's not how actual organic
Yeah.
bonding works at all. It's like that's more mating.
How did you guys meet? You and Aaron.
Comedy festival,
Where was it?
Portland, Bridgetown.
Okay, and you sort of met. Was it like
She had a boyfriend that was there at the
Oh,
time.
really?
I wasn't
was
like
a comedian?
yeah, Mike Racine. He knows. He's
Oh,
very,
shit,
He's
okay.
very aware of it. Like
Okay.
we didn't
Mike.
get together for another. Like, what if he's like we're still dating?
Yeah.
He's married and has a kid. But we didn't get together for like another year and a half after we met. So it was
But
just
you
like I
met-
remember meeting her and being like, I like her.
Were you on a show together?
Yeah. Me and Kanane were like borderline blackout in the middle of the afternoon kind of thing.
I didn't realize you quit drinking not that long ago.
It's 11 years ago.
Oh, okay. So
That's pretty far. That was a decade.
how long after? Well, how long you guys been together?
Over probably 13, 14 years.
So you quit drinking while you met her.
Yeah, we
While you
like
were
to talk
together.
about where we had
That's
like the
interesting.
best kind of part where it's like I drank probably the first 6 months we were together,
Right? Then
which
you
was
quit?
like really fun, and then like I just quit and was like quit being a mess. Well,
Yeah.
I mean I was probably still a mess,
but it was better mess.
but I wasn't full of poison and volatile. It was more like oh he's just kind of
That's
he's
interesting.
just sad. Now he's not sad anymore. So I
Yeah.
was like, yeah. But that was a lot of it. One night, I was already like kind of tired of of drinking,
Yeah.
and was noticing like I would end up sad more than I was having a good
Yeah.
time.
It's not good.
And then one night she was just like, "Hey, last night was rough. I don't want to do that again." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay. I won't drink anymore." And then she said she thought I was like just saying that, and she was like, and then that motherfucker never drank again.
Wow. That's pretty cool. That's sort of like a thing where you can fuck up a lot now because you have that one thing where I kept this one promise that's so hard to keep that
She
I
doesn't.
can
Well,
I can
I
fuck
also
up a
quit
lot
smoking
now.
like that, like and like way ahead. Like she would harp on me about smoking
Yeah.
and blah blah blah. But then when she drinks, she would smoke.
Cigs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I quit those too.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, she wasn't. She'd be like, but now it's like I've quit.
So you got
every-
two. You got two things.
Mhm.
You can say you just did it. So now you can fuck up a lot.
Well, and
basically,
I was also probably 30 pounds heavier than I was when we met.
Yeah. So she doesn't like you now.
I think she's like well the thing she says because I was like this fucking kind of chubby. I was like on the verge of being fat, blackout drunk,
Oof.
going through a divorce.
Yeah, that's
that
not
she was
good.
like, I like this dude, and like looking like on paper is like,
Oh,
what were you fucking
that's bad,
doing, lady?
yeah.
I had a nice comedy career, you know what I mean, like that, but that was it. And then she was like, it was a hell of an investment that turned out. I was like, yeah, but there was one day, I think she saw one day when we first got together, a bunch of comics got together in Brooklyn at this park and played football, and then she saw that I
You
was.
broke someone's fucking leg.
She saw that I was.
You
she was
stiff
like,
arm Sean Patton.
She
or
was
something.
just like-
and no man, I don't play football. This is fun, Billy. This is fun.
It was. I think she was like, "Oh, he's not like a dipshit, like comedian. Like there's like a human under
I believe
there."
the expression that one would say is, he knows how to move his body.
It was, yeah, it was
Actually,
clear.
To be honest, I heard that. I remember exact moment I heard someone say that because they were talking. I was listening to public radio like 15 years ago in the car wash. They're talking about when they cast the show Cheers and how the initial actor they had, they wanted really bad. They decided they want to go a different direction. They went with, what's his name?
Woody?
Ted Danson, right?
Danson.
And they told Ted Danson to look at the other actor because the other actor was an athlete. And he's like, this guy, you have to play him. He's an athlete. He's a guy who's comfortable in his body because he's an athlete. And that's how you have to play him. And I've always thought about that. Like, oh, my God, that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, athletes are...
You know your body.
They're comfortable in their body. So they act differently than other people. Most comedians are not athletes. They do not move with grace or like confidence at all. So if you are a comedian who has any sort of physical confidence, it looks kind of weird and maybe kind of hot.
Yeah. Oh, compared to all of them?
Yes. Are you
like
kidding
all
me?
of them in a group?
You look like fucking
If I'd have known that, I wouldn't have just picked one lady.
You look like Walter Payton.
I would have been already in love with one of them. I would have been like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I should stand next to you guys and run all the time.
Yeah. Playing football with comedians is like fucking Walter Payton in kindergarten or some shit.
Yeah, like I was a college athlete, so I was like middle of the pack with college athletes. But like
Damn.
around comedians, I'm an Adonis.
Oh,
yeah. I just didn't realize that till way too
Like
late.
I feel like I have among comedians, when people are impressed with, you go running almost every day. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, how far? I'm like, oh, maybe like 4 or 5 miles. What?
It is.
Like that's nothing. That's not. I run like just enough
to get. Yeah, no,
to
it is.
like sweat. That's all I do. And I'm not. It's not easy. I do it, but it's not like easy at all. But that is for that to be impressive. There is no bar. The bar is built into
John
the
Panette, guys.
John Panette. Yeah, that's the best thing about comedy is how many comedians are there who are not morbidly obese? They are like, how are you even fucking able to move?
Oh my God! I
Yeah.
toured with a dude that was like, I told him one time, once we got closer as humans,
Right. Which is
Route-
hard to not get close because
he's in
there's so
there.
much.
It's a lot of,
There's
especially
some-
Southwest flights. We were sharing a row.
Jesus Christ. More like south.
Well, I didn't meet him at his fattest, so I knew him like when he was already kind of taking care of himself. So he was like 400 to 500 pounds the whole time I knew him.
Wow, that's
which
so
is
big.
big. But I also grew up playing football and
Yeah.
sports, so like I also knew large people.
Yeah.
So kind of giant freaks. So I wasn't like I was like they're still humans, you know what I mean? So I wasn't. But then one day we were talking, and I was like, so what's like the biggest you got? And he said 850. So I believe it was. I always put 50 to 75 pounds on the other side of that.
I don't know how you can. That's like a record, right?
No.
What's the
Not
biggest
even
guy?
fucking close, dude. It's like 1,500. It gets crazy.
That's so crazy.
But like, and here's the thing. I was like, so, oh, dude, I'm like, I used to. We would get really stoned on like hash sometimes, and I would just be like, he's like 4 of me.
Yeah.
There's like 4 humans over there sitting next to me.
And you really couldn't even fit in there because the shape.
It was just but here's the freaky part to me was that he was an invalid. He wasn't an invalid that was like just in a house eating and they had to. He was touring as a stand-up comedian,
Moving around.
and had he was a cook and had jobs and stuff, but just weighed 850 pounds.
Man, that's nuts.
So that part is, I mean, he was in and out of the hospital his whole life, as you can imagine.
Oh,
but-
yeah. He's dead?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He died like 3 times.
I mean,
That's not a lie.
like table death?
Not a lie.
Like died on the table?
Yeah, a couple times. and
Jesus
then-
Christ.
Yeah.
There's so many people now who aren't dead, who if you told me they were dead, I'd be like, I guess they're dead. I just don't know.
I thought Jimmy Carter was dead.
Yeah, I think I knew he was
I
alive.
opened my phone one day. I was like, oh. I wasn't shocked. I was like, hold on.
Remember when Pete Rose died? You're like, again?
Did he die?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Remember when OJ died and people were like, he had cancer? And I was like, everybody was like, really?
He died, huh? He died a couple years ago, yeah. All right. This year. Okay, there you
Yeah.
go. I don't know. Yeah. This is the funny thing about old age is that if you get to be
He
Like-
was on Twitter.
OJ?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
OJ is one of those guys
He condemned Hamas.
Oh God.
Do you think?
He's a fix-it guy. You know what I mean?
I just don't understand the impulse to be like, I'm gonna let some people know what I have to say.
I think it's that thing where he can't help it.
It's like ego, deep ego.
Oh,
right?
it's huge ego. It's the same reason that he wrote that book. It's all the stuff. It's like it's like Schwarzenegger, right?
Do you think the cops that knew he did it were just like, dude, shut the fuck up? God.
Probably. Yeah, he was such a big deal, right? I
They
think
loved him.
I didn't.
The
Growing up,
world
I didn't.
loved him. The
I didn't
whole
know
world.
that though. As a kid, I didn't know that because I didn't come from a sports house at all. But then I saw that documentary, and I'm like, oh, this guy was
I didn't know.
was
I didn't
beloved.
understand it either.
Yeah, beloved.
I didn't understand Kobe's appeal till after he died either.
He is
kinda.
the same as OJ in that sense.
No,
I
I
really
just
don't
mean
know.
like there was like an iconic.
Yeah.
He was already an icon. OJ was already an
that-
icon.
People that lost to Kobe loved him for some reason.
Yes.
Like, it was a cultural thing rather than just a manifestation of sports love.
Yes, it was like this iconic thing that I think that I didn't understand about OJ or Kobe is what I'm saying. Is like there was like a cultural part of
Yeah.
it that I didn't. That we're from the East Coast, and for lack of a better term,
You are.
I'm from Tennessee. You're
Yeah.
from the Midwest.
Yeah, from the
which is
Midwest.
from here, the East.
Kind of is, yeah.
But OJ actually was like from the projects and overcame it. I think Kobe was rich.
Well, who cares?
He like went to high school in Italy.
All that matters is
No, he grew up in Philly.
Kobe
Yeah, his dad played European basketball.
and for the Clippers.
Yeah, but then he was a Philly kid.
OJ had a gay dad.
Is that? Oh, that
Yeah.
is. That's that. Yeah, I've watched that documentary.
Yeah, that's how you make a killer.
But
There's the clip. Okay.
I don't know what he's talking about.
His dad.
My dad's gay.
Is it?
Yeah.
Your dad's gay?
Yeah.
When did you find out?
Probably about
Like 3 hours ago?
20 years ago.
Oh, really?
I guess so. I think it's almost 20 years ago, yeah.
So were you a grown up?
No, I was 17, 18. Yeah. 18, maybe, yeah. This is a whole
That's
other
a
thing.
grown. That's a legally grown up.
Yeah, legally.
I know you're not. You're
I was a
not at all.
boy. I was
No,
a boy. I was
it
but a
was-
boy.
Everyone's a boy.
I was
Oh.
a young. Yeah, I was quite a boy. I was a boy.
How did he tell you? I don't have to know
he
this,
told
but
us.
I'm just fascinated.
He just like told.
Was your mom and dad together? Or
They
divorced?
were, but they were getting separated at that point.
Oh,
I mean, it's a long story,
That-
but it's also not that interesting, really. It's sort of like,
then tell it.
well, it's a long story
Why is it long?
because there's a lot of things that if I were to tell it, it's a detail, but it's not especially interesting. Like a lot of people,
Punch it up.
I'm not there yet. I'm getting
kidding.
close.
No, I that's
You know,
part of
honestly,
the joke
I
is
just
the
not.
processing of it.
I haven't
That's why
figured
was
out how to
being
talk
funny.
about it yet because certain things are hard to talk about. You have to have. You
Do
have to
you
get-
feel deceived?
I would say that anytime someone now says, but he's married, I'm like,
Dude, that's never. I mean, even I think since a child. I
yeah, but
realize,
you're
like,
you. Most people will use that literally as an excuse as to why a person cannot be gay, even though they act gay, they do gay things, they do things, they live life as a person who is
There's
homosexual.
so many people
Yes.
that died in the closet.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times, I mean, I'm not speaking from personal experience here because obviously I can't, but from what I have learned from thinking about this over the years is that the main thing about your sexuality is you can be surrounded by people who are the most liberal, open-minded people alive, and they all love you unconditionally. They let you know that constantly. But if you, in your heart, as who you are, do not accept and love that person who is not what they purport to be, then you won't come out because you just don't. You
Because
don't.
that you mean that human, if they don't accept themselves.
Yeah, they don't accept themselves, and they just won't do it, even though everything around them is telling them it's okay. And there's also people who do the opposite. There's people who like come out like, you fucking came out, man, you're a fucking badass.
Yeah.
There's like people who come out as trans in like the deep South Pentecostal church. And those people should be
There's a
security
big gay dude.
guards, you know, for
There's
like.
a giant gay dude that owns a bar in the hills of West Virginia.
Yeah.
That is one of the coolest
And
human
probably
beings on the planet.
the least fuckable with person. Like those kind of people are just like, you cannot fuck with that person.
No, and that is
Yeah.
who they are.
You
And
do
it's
not-
beautiful. Yes.
They will fight you. They will smash your head into a telephone box.
One time I was in that John's where Vermont, and you know
Yeah.
it's like a portal.
The shitty Vons.
It's a portal. That place.
It's portal for bad.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It's a portal. Yeah, it's one
It's
of
like-
those intersections in a city where like the energy here is just insane.
You
no
clean it,
matter
it's
what.
dirty the second
It
later.
is.
Like, what?
Yes. I was in there. I didn't know any better. It was when I first moved. And I was
Mm-hmm.
there, and I was like, "What is this place?" Yeah, it's just like people just throwing stuff.
Yeah.
And there was this 6'6" dude who had an Oklahoma accent, but he was wearing a tutu
Mm-hmm.
and just jacked. And he's talking to his mom on the phone in front of me. He's like, "Yeah, mom, blah blah blah," and it made me so happy because I was like, "I bet that dude dressed just like that when he lived in Oklahoma, but had to fight all the time,
Right.
and can just come here and not have to. He can just be
Yeah.
him and not." And I was just like it was like one of those things where I'm like, this is why I like LA and like these places like this, because it is home for like misfits and weirdos, and
For
you
real,
don't
yeah.
have to like you said, like punch somebody because you're you.
Yep. You can pretty much do whatever you want, and someone will pay you for it.
Yes, it's the dream factor.
Maybe they'll pay you for it.
Well, you do what they want, they'll pay you for it.
Well, they'll pay you to provide a service, whatever that service may be.
The Vikings going to win the Super Bowl?
Probably not. I think if they did, that would be crazy. I just don't think they're.
Why won't you let that in your heart? There's a possibility.
It's the same reason as anyone from Minnesota, because we don't want to. It's the same reason that people in the Midwest, we're not comfortable with strong emotions, and that's just very strong emotion. So it's better just to be like, they go. If they make it to the NFC Championship, that would be like a Super Bowl. If they make it to the NFC
I don't know if that's
Championship.
a strong emotion. It's just like a preparation for like, I don't want to get let down.
Yeah, but that you don't understand, like that started when the season started. That's like everything.
Listen, I'm a Raiders fan. I
Yeah.
understand that the whole concept of being like, I don't have any expectations.
Right.
And you guys are playing amazing.
We were
so
playing amazing with what was not expected to be an amazing team. I don't know. I feel like it's so much good has already happened that
You're just happy.
at this point it's kind of like we've been running on empty for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's just they're doing so well is incredible, and so everything's a gift. Every day's a gift.
What's skull mean?
Skull, I think, is an old Norwegian Viking thing. I think it means like go or
Like their cheers.
yeah, it's
Okay.
cheers. I think actually isn't that? Yeah, it is cheers because
So
Germans
they're
were
skull.
Prost. Prost, yeah.
Skull.
Skull, yeah, it means cheers.
Okay. Are you
'Cause
part
you-
Viking?
No, not at all.
Where's your people from?
I think my people are just Western Europe, but no Irish.
West.
No Irish. I have no
Just
Irish.
boring. Just Western Europe.
Like French and English. The people who conquered your people.
That's what you think. That's what we've led you to believe.
What's what we've let you think that you think.
Okay.
I would say that the greatest trick that the English ever
How did
did,
the Northern Ireland thing go?
not good, but it was bad. It wasn't bad for the English. It was bad for the people they put there. The English are fine. The English
Which
are,
I think
yeah.
were the English. No,
You know what I
I
mean?
don't think they were Irish.
It's not England though. England is fine.
I'm Irish and Scottish, so
Yeah, it's the same thing.
it is pretty much. It's
Pretty much the
Appalachian.
same. I think I'm a little Scottish as well,
Yes, I
but
would
not
say that.
Irish.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah, because the Irish
I
is.
would guess Scottish for sure. Yeah.
I guess, but also, like, I think everyone in America is a little Scottish. If you're
No.
white,
Have you ever seen Italian dudes? They are not.
yeah, but if you're
There's
like
Puerto Rican dudes. Well, Puerto Rican dudes are everything.
if you're not like if you're not have like if you're a white guy, like don't have any sort of olive complexion whatsoever, you're probably a little bit of Scottish, a little bit of Welsh, some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
Probably
I
a
mean,
touch.
Just poor is what we're talking about. Just
Yeah,
deeply poor.
You're probably a little Welsh Scots. You're probably a little bit German, right?
I do like to point
Maybe.
out, and this is a semantical argument when sometimes my wife will be like, white men control everything. And I was like, no. You know who the biggest landowner for the last 100 years was? It was a woman.
Who?
Queen
the Queen.
Eliz-
Yeah, the Queen.
Queen
I was like,
Elizabeth.
the Queen. I forgot.
She's been in charge of the
That's
world
true,
for the
yeah.
last 100 years. The lady's in
but
charge.
she's basically a man.
She's dead. She's dead.
She's dead, but she was like,
What a crazy thing. That's
she was sort of like she was the man version of a woman.
yeah, it's called a queen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, the Queen of England.
So ladies is pimps too.
Ladies as pimps too. How about the Catholic Church? Those are Italians. Technically,
No,
they're Italians.
Technically, they are.
Technically, they're not. But you know what I mean. But
They're Vaticans.
if you listen really closely in the Vatican, you hear like.
But don't they have, like,
Schoology.
Dutch
no,
soldiers?
Come on. They have Swiss Guard. There was a
Swiss,
gift.
the Swiss.
That was
Actually French.
there was a
And they're
gift.
French. Yeah.
There was a gift like 500 years ago. Doesn't count. Those
Did
guys,
you see? Like I did tweet this too, so I'm repeating
Buongiorno,
this.
buongiorno.
but
Mi scarpe, mi fa male.
I give Joel Osteen a lot of shit,
But
but like the Catholic Church, have you seen their buildings? It's just gold plated.
Oh, yeah.
It's insanity.
they're the biggest landowner in the world, right?
Yeah,
The Catholic Church would never use a repurposed basketball arena.
that's true. They would. Yeah, they would. They
What
would
do you
use
mean?
slave labor.
Yeah.
Yes, to
That's
build
what Joel
something.
Osteen
Yes,
professes. Lakewood Church used to be the Rockets arena.
Wait, start over. Joel Osteen did what?
I give him shit for being such a turd about just like
Right, but
like,
he's
he's
better
pretty
than.
modest.
he's
Compared to the
the-
Vatican.
just modest as hell compared.
Oh, yeah,
Like, he is a
yeah.
podunk little.
Yeah.
Little country church compared
On
to
the
the
Catholic
Vatican.
Church is like yes.
It is
Yes,
insanity. Yeah.
but Catholic Mass is about as good as it gets.
You ever been to a Catholic mass wedding?
I am Catholic. I'm Catholic. Yes,
You know what I'm talking about?
I've been to one, a bunch of them.
A bunch. I've
Uh-huh.
only been to one, and I was like, I'm never going.
Oh,
I'm never
because
do-
you went to the old school one. They
It
don't do that
took
way anymore.
forever.
It's like 2 hours long.
yes,
yeah.
it took the ceremony was 2 hours.
Yeah, the Catholic Church now is like, we can't do this. We're already
Good.
having trouble as it is.
Yeah.
They make it like 40 minutes now.
It made me feel good that other Catholic. I wasn't Catholic, but
Right.
most of the people there were like, "This is ridiculous, right?" And I was
It is
like, I
ridiculous.
don't know. This is not my thing.
It's absurd.
Yeah, it was 2 hours, and then
But you know what?
they
I
got
just-
hammered.
That's the only thing Catholics do well is drinking.
Well, I got it because it was just
Yeah.
there was so much suffering and tedious nonsense for 2 hours
You have to drink.
that afterwards you're like, yeah, we should. That was harsh.
Yeah, I suppose that's the one thing about me that is not English is that I'm Catholic.
Yep, that's not English at all.
I know.
They don't
it's
like
not very
that.
English at all, but
They did their own thing.
something like that.
I think we're gonna have our own church soon.
I can't wait for
Church
it.
of America.
Church of America,
This is Church of England. That's why we created America, right?
right?
Mormons and not American Christians, essentially.
I don't think
No,
Mormons.
that's Utah.
Yeah, Utah. But the Mormons kind of they're like
Mormons are like their whole thing is like we have our own planet. They don't have like I don't think they believe in state and
Like Mormons and Southern Baptists, that's not American church. That's not our Anglican church.
the Mormons are so different than Southern Baptists, though.
yeah.
I'm just saying, like American.
Well, there's no. That's what's going to be really funny is when, American Christianity starts. This whole new administration.
You think it's
coming
gonna
in.
happen like that?
Well, that's a lot of the power that helps sweep these motherfuckers in
Yeah.
are from the evangelical.
But isn't that
and
just they just lied to them to get them to vote?
Sure, but there's a lot of them in actual power.
Yeah, that's
positions
true.
now.
Meet and disagree on which
Yes.
real Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like power hungry people in power positions now that want it their way that I do think will be interesting to watch.
We're gonna
It's-
have a new schism.
It's gonna be like everything has always been, where there's never one
Yes, it is.
never one voice. Nothing's gonna be easy. You can't just ram shit through.
I hope you're right.
I mean, I'll probably be wrong, but I really don't think it's gonna be just like this. It's not gonna be some fucking. It's designed to be difficult, right? It's designed to be like a thing where
In theory.
yeah, and it's worked for a long time. where
I mean,
no one's
here's-
run away with it yet.
well, here's the
George Bush.
well, here's the problem with
didn't,
the
though.
here's the problem with the word the long time. Like in historic terms, it's not been that long. and
No,
we're
but-
already fucking it up pretty bad.
Yeah, but it's pretty good for one government. A pretty long time.
We're doing fine.
We're doing good.
But
Good enough.
We are doing great right now. We should. We already did this in the 20s, the last 20s,
Yeah.
which was like, hey, we gave all these like 4 dudes all the money, and then guess what? Shit got fucked again.
Yeah, but
And then we fixed it, and then we let them do it again, which is exhausting. So we now got to fix it again.
it's just how it is, isn't it? We just keep repeating ourselves. We gotta have something to do.
The conflict, the conflict in the board part. I do like that part of the Matrix movie. I do love the most. That one line was like, "We made it all perfect in one version."
Oh, then it didn't work.
and they didn't like it. No
Yeah.
one liked it.
That's true though.
That
That's
part
real. Mm-hmm.
of the fucking that line right there is like that is the essence of human existence.
Because we're so good at what we do that we got to have a bunch of bullshit in there. Otherwise, there has because people don't need anything. We could have 45 people living in here and drinking tap water, and technically we would be fine.
Well,
But
I
we
just
were
think
just,
the humans are flawed. That's our thing. It's like I know monks, and I've like
You know monks?
I know my wife's cousin
Is a
who wasn't a monk when I met him is a monk now,
Wow.
which is kind of cool.
What kind of monk?
Tibetan or
Oh,
I'm sure
Trappist?
he's
Franciscan?
he lives. It's in San Diego. It's like north of San Diego.
Right.
He lives on a monastery. It's Buddhist for
Okay,
sure.
Buddhist
but,
monk, yeah.
but I'm not. There's different like denominations or whatever and different dudes. But I visit their monastery several times and do that. But that's what you realize is like they're not all like Zen. They're dudes.
No, they're
and
definitely-
chicks, and
yeah, they're
like
not.
humans. So
Mhm.
that when you talk to them, you're like, oh, you still got some work to do, huh?
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite part is like a lot of them have this kind of like proud of themselves kind of thing where you're just like, I think you're missing the whole thing.
Uh-huh. But also maybe that's why they're there.
No, no,
Right.
I 100. No, it
Yeah.
is 100%. But it makes me laugh because there's like a
little
feeling
back
of that
pat.
of like
The irony.
we're kind of doing something great, and you're just like, sure, but it should be about the peace thing, right? It's like, but we're all.
I don't know.
It's I think it to me it's more interesting because of my perception of what monks were.
Right.
And then you meet them and you're like, oh, they're just fucking humans. It's like meeting famous people. You know what I mean? Where you
Yeah.
have this perception and then you meet them and you're like, oh, they're just like
They're
really
humans?
fucked up people.
Or they're dudes who couldn't get a job.
Who, famous people?
No,
A
monks.
lot of famous people are
Famous
dudes.
people are dudes who couldn't get a job.
Because they just hang out in Hollywood without a job. And
I think I have PTSD right now because I keep looking at you and I see Dan Campbell, and it's freaking me out.
who's Dan Campbell?
He's
Lions.
the coach of the Lions.
Oh.
You don't look like him, but at this angle,
No, I was like, I don't.
you don't look like Dan Campbell. But
At all.
at this angle, sometimes you look like him. I just hate Dan Campbell so much these days.
Did y'all win yesterday?
What do you
lost to him?
think? I wouldn't have, I
just
wouldn't care about Dan Campbell. I'm so sick of sports. I hate sports. I'm done with it. I got in late. I'm getting out early.
Did you go to the games and stuff, right? Those are fun.
I'm going next week.
In Minneapolis?
No, here.
Who they play?
The Rams.
That'd be fun.
It'll be fun. It will be
fun.
fun, actually. It will be fun.
Yeah.
I have to just.
I like going to games. I don't have to.
Yeah.
I like to go into games of teams I don't care about.
Well, I care a lot.
It's gonna be tough.
That's the
Tough.
problem.
That's
I know too much. I watch all the sport. I know too much now. That's the mistake I made with football. Is I started learning too much, and now I have this knowledge base.
My dad's a football coach. I know all of it,
You know, see, I know.
but I don't care about any. Like I like the game,
Yeah.
but all like Aaron works for the NFL sometimes and writes stuff like
Right.
some of the ESPYs and awards. So she keeps up with like stuff that I do not give a shit about, like who's
Like-
getting traded and who's
Like
on
cover 2 and seam routes.
I like that stuff.
You find your man in the flats.
I like seeing, oh, well, he's going to run this, they're going to do this,
Yeah.
and this guy, and like that I like.
That stuff,
But that's boring to most people.
because it is boring. It's the nerdiest thing that exists on the planet.
What, watching their defenses against the offenses? That's the fucking game.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? When Tom Brady starts talking about stuff that nobody understands but professional quarterbacks, that's
Well, he shouldn't be in
Dorky.
that box. He's not. He doesn't communicate to. Who's he? You're right.
He'll-
Who is he talking to?
he'll get better. Troy Aikman got better. Troy Aikman's great now.
Troy Aikman has CTE, and that's why he's getting dumber and dumber, and that's
He
why
does.
he's
I think
that's
he's
why we
great
can
at it. I think I like his announcing.
That's why we can understand him now.
He's like Romo if Romo didn't suck.
That's what I'm saying. But Romo's really good at explaining it. to
Yeah,
people.
Romo's also the most. We're off the rails here now. This is fully off the rails.
If you were like, this is for people that love football and ketamine.
The first time ever.
It's that
The first
diagram.
time ever. I was only going to do a couple fat rails of ketamine and listen to guys talk about the NFC.
I played this Wook retreat
Ooh,
thing.
the wooks.
And I like hash, so I like to smoke cannabis, and they make really good hash. But they also do a lot of ketamine,
Yeah.
and that's where their music is like wong yong yong. And I wasn't on it, so I
So you didn't get it.
I didn't understand what it was. For
Yeah.
long, and I finally, I was with my friend. I was like, "Hey, what's the fucking deal with this music?" Because it's like EDM adjacent,
Right?
but it's weirder.
So
And
it's
then-
ketamine music.
But then he explained it. They're on these deep ketamine holes. I was like, oh,
Jesus.
no, thank you. I'm pretty happy. You know what I mean?
You're doing okay.
You do
Work-
ketamine
I've done it.
recreationally?
I have.
Was it fun?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was.
Were you in the woods
No.
in your house?
Yeah. No comment.
Well, it's like legal. A little
Yeah, it is. I guess it's kind of legal. I did it injected once by a doctor.
bit. Yeah, I was gonna ask because I know some people that have done
Yeah.
that depression.
It's a little scary.
It can be, right?
Oh, yeah. Because you are like, oh, I just died. Like, oh, I'm dying again.
Does
And
it
it's been
hurt?
50. Doesn't hurt. I mean, no, not dying like hurting, like dying like, oh, I don't know how to describe it. You know, it's like a thing where you are experiencing a significant amount of psychedelic manipulation of your brain that makes you sort of not
Realize that-
exist.
Does
Just-
it make you realize that? Is it kind of like a chemical way to go to like somewhere in nature where it makes you feel small?
I
and
would say it is.
insignificant?
I would say it makes you feel. I mean, is there any more insignificant than death? I think to me it makes you feel like
Well, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
Like I like to go to like the redwoods.
Yeah, but this isn't like one of the redwoods. This is like if a redwood tree fell on you.
No, I understand
Yeah.
that, but I'm saying like, but that is the essence of what you're trying to achieve through ketamine is going somewhere where you feel small and insignificant, so your problems you realize are dumb and that you're going to die one day. And these trees have been here 1,000 years, so what the fuck you're worrying about means nothing.
Maybe. I think it's a little bit more cosmic and heart and literally impossible
Something
to.
I'm describing is cosmic too.
I think it's impossible to describe. It's sort of like a thing where you're not really realizing something as much as you are feeling a feeling that is not a feeling that is rooted in consciousness. I don't know how to kind of describe it. It's like
So your essence. So in essence, you're losing the meat suit.
you completely dissolve. Your ego's dissolved. You are in.
What did you think about?
What do I think about the experience?
No, when your ego dissolved, what did you think about?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it, I guess. I think it was more.
That's not an opinion. It was a question.
I know. I don't mean. I don't have any thoughts on it other than it was.
No, what did you, when you realized in the moment, or when
Yeah.
you're on the drugs, or lack of a better term, and you're like, oh, my ego's gone. You had that realization, correct?
No, because when your ego goes away, you don't realize your ego's going away, because that would be to retain your ego, to realize that.
So what did you?
I just think
What were you thinking about?
I was thinking that I was dead.
Without an ego, what was going on in your brain?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. I mean, honestly, it's something where, of all the things I've ever done, of all the psychedelic experience I've had, this is the one that defies description the most.
Would you do it again?
Yes, but I think I would be very scared to do it.
Really?
Yeah, because it's the kind of thing where you get injected, and next thing you know, it's anesthesia.
Sure.
So you're being put to sleep, but inside that sleep, you are just gone. You are in untold worlds away. You cannot speak.
For how long?
Well, for probably the total 20 minutes at the most, but the time does not exist in the space. You're basically, it's like if you zoom down to the atomic level and observe that, would that have any bearing on something that's on the above that? It's so different that it's kind of like you're living in it's like a different universe kind of thing. And
Sure.
Towards the end of it, there's parallels, and you have some sort of realizations and stuff that are more like typical in terms of psychedelic therapy and stuff like that. But the initial part of it, when you can't speak or anything like that, you don't even feel compelled to speak. You are absolutely and completely encumbered by the drug that's making you feel the way you are. And it's kind of like, I would say it's like primitive beyond, like cosmos level, like non-biologic primitive kind of thing.
Yeah, you remove. It's just you and your soul, and you removed your meat.
Something very, very. It's pretty crazy.
I gotta pee.
I have to go. I have to do that too.
Okay.
We should end it. Do you have anything you want to talk about? That you want like dates or anything like that you want to promote?
If you just Google Billy Wayne Davis, I'm coming to all kinds of. I'm being in Alaska in January in a couple weeks. I'll be in Portland, Oregon. I'll be in Seattle, Washington. I'll be in Austin, Texas. I'll be in Bend, Oregon. Boston, Chattanooga, Nashville, a bunch of places.
Testifies on Hulu.
Yes,
Do it.
And if you have Hulu or YouTube,
Go there.
yes.
Bye.